Hi everyone, this presentation is going to be a summary of my time here at Marshall University working in financial planning and analysis. To start us off, I'm going to talk a little bit about myself, then talk about FP&A as a whole, then move on to FP&A specifically here at Marshall University. Then I'll go into each week throughout the semester and touch on a little bit of the things that I've done. Lastly, I'll reflect on what I've learned and how I can use these experiences in the future. To start us off, I thought I'd talk about myself a little bit. So as you saw on the slide before, my name is Dakota Gilliam. I'm an honors student here at Marshall University, and I'm currently finishing up my junior year. I'm a double major in accounting and finance, and I'm from Hurricane, West Virginia, which is just about 35 minutes away from campus. I want to throw this slide in here to give us a little bit of a background on what financial planning and analysis really is. So FP&A is a department within a company that is responsible for budgeting, forecasting, and analyzing financial data. This will help higher ups in positions like the CFO, the president, the CEO, and some corporations make business decisions. The main goal of FP&A is just to help the financial performance of the university or the business. FP&A works really closely with a lot of other departments. Money is involved in almost every aspect of every business and university. FP&A involves creating a lot of financial models and scenarios to help predict future. So what were my goals in financial planning and analysis at Marshall University? I did a lot of collaborating with other departments, just helping maintain budgets, just numbers, daily, monthly, yearly numbers that are needed for reporting. I helped develop financial models for forecasting future revenues, and I did a lot of the daily tasks of the executive assistant. So this is what my hour and activity log looked like. I kept this up throughout the whole semester. As you can see here at the top, I have all the weeks, and here's all the hours that I worked. You can see most of the time I was working Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 24-hour weeks or around that. By the end of the semester, I'm going to have a total hour worked of 356. You can see I made some notes throughout the semester. I have these covered up because there's some data in there that isn't public, so I can't show all that. But I'm going to go through each week and give an idea of what I've done each week, even though there's some things that I can't share. I'm going to do the best I can. So during week 1, this was at the beginning of January, I started off by reviewing some PowerPoints. I had really no idea what I was getting myself into, so Matt gave me some PowerPoints. A lot of it was Brad's mission and the university's mission. Gave me an idea of where everyone was at throughout our department and what headspace to be in. Also attended meetings regarding Marshall's affordability project. This has to do a lot with the online class mission. Also met with Bursar's office to talk about some various topics. And I sat on some meetings with software companies, which I didn't really know at the time, but we needed them for budgeting and planning. So this week is when I really started getting into the real work. As you can see right there, I planned the all finance team meeting. This was a meeting with everyone from the finance department. There was about 65 of us. We all got together in the Shockey room, and Matt gave us a presentation. I think it was his first time meeting with everyone from the team, so he just wanted to meet with everybody. I also started working on one of my biggest projects throughout the semester, which I'll talk about later, forecasting revenues. During this week, I had no idea what I was doing, but I get a lot more detail later on throughout the semester and improve on this a lot. So I think this was a shorter week. I think there was some sort of holiday, but I started off the meeting talking about tuition and fees for the upcoming budget year. Also learned steps for bonds and trackable payments. This was I actually did this a lot throughout the semester. This was dealing with the new business building. I kind of got some paperwork together, got it signed, and got it sent to the bank for payment. Week 4, this was a sad week for us. This was Jason's last week. Jason was the intern CFO and the controller at Marshall. I think he had worked for almost 10 years in finance at Marshall. So he had a lot of knowledge about softwares that we use and really about everything. So Matt wanted to get together with him and talk about Argos and Banner, two of the softwares that we use. We also talked about the budget for the next year with Jason and got some good knowledge from him. There on the second little sentence, I got invoiced and learned how to do an encumbrance. This is the first step through my process of getting one of these invoices paid. I did this through Banner. As you can see, this is the Banner screen. There's codes that you use here. I don't think I'm allowed to show anything inside, so this is really the best I can do. So during week 5, I was able to listen in on a MERC meeting. They talked about getting the faculty to student ratio from 114 to 130. This would be over $1 billion in revenue, so that'd be great for the university. I don't think I'm allowed to talk about anything else that they spoke about in the meeting, but throughout the week I got in some meetings about the new grant software. We needed a cloud base and an affordable one, so we were kind of able to weed out some of the companies that we met with because of their slow speed or increased cost. This week I had the privilege of sitting in on a very interesting meeting about cybersecurity. They talked about the differences in the different programs. I got to learn about the cybersecurity mission and how they're involved in the community and all the good that they're doing. They also discussed the potential for an innovation district and maybe a new building. So during week 7, I got to sit in on a meeting with Ron Area from the foundation to discuss Brad's new mission, Marshall for All, Marshall Forever. So this is just a mission that every Marshall student will be to graduate debt-free. In the next 10 years, we'll need $300 million raised to complete this program. And for the first test run in the fall, we need $1.2 million. You can see there at the bottom, Brad was asking for some data that we needed, and I wrote some of it down. We were able to provide that data for him. That was for one of the meetings that he had. So during week 8, I got to sit in on a demo with Anaplan. Anaplan's an FP&A software, so this is something that I'd be using every day if it was already implemented. They talked about pricing and a bunch of different things. I went through a demo about how it can plan out in the future, and there's rolling forecast that can come out of it, and we can feed the campus information from it. Also, they said in the demo that we get nightly updates from Banner, so that's also a plus, and we can export to Tableau from Excel. Week 9 was a pretty big week for us. Matt laid out the timeline for the FY24 budget. So as of 4/6, which I'm recording this on 4/19, 4/6 already happened, but we needed to get the FY24 budget and rates. I talked a little bit about the headings that needed to be used. 4/19, which is today, Matt had some presentations due, so that's been really busy throughout the last couple weeks trying to get those together. On 4/24, which is next week, they have a big board training session. And 4/26 is the actual board meeting. FY24 budget will be presented, tuition and fees will be approved, and we'll talk about outlooks and the budget model. During week 10, I was able to start the tuition and fee model, which would end up being one of the biggest projects I had throughout the semester. This would predict revenues from past enrollment, which with implementable columns for tuition rates and enrollment predictions. I'll go a little bit more in depth on this on the next slide. As you can see, I have some of this blurred out in the white. Not sure what I'm allowed to share, so it's better to be safe than sorry. I'm just going to walk us through the model the best I can. So over here on the left, we have undergrad, also have graduate and professional down below. I have a list of all the majors here, then here's past enrollment data. Up here in the blue is where you put in your data. Right here is enrollment assumption, so you just put, say you want resident to go, say you assume that resident's going to go up by 5%, you just put that there. Say metro is going to go down 5%, and then right here, whatever your pricing assumption is going to be, if you want to raise prices by 5%, lower them by 5%, you can put that here, and it'll affect these rates that go into the calculation in the other columns. Week 11 was a great week. This is spring break, so I went to Gatlinburg. Had a lot of fun. So coming back from spring break, I got straight back to work. This is where the tuition and fee model really blossomed into what it is now. It predicts revenues all the way out to fiscal year 27. I'll go into that in the next couple slides. I was asked to change tuition rates, and this was able to predict revenues for all the way out to fiscal year 27. and it showed that if we were able to change all the tuitions to $5,000 and enrollment was increasing steadily, then by fiscal year 27, revenues will be slightly down but trending upwards. So this is a lot closer to what the model looks like today. You can see this is the fiscal year 26 box. This is the fiscal year 27. So it goes all the way out. And in the next slide, I'll show you what the product looks like. As you can see, this is the same place where you would just put in your volume assumptions and your pricing assumptions. And these are all growing on each other. So if one's changed before, then it affects the next one. So this is another sheet within that same Excel file. This is pretty much what that model is computing. As you can see here, I have resident, non-resident, metro for undergraduate and graduate, and then professional schools as well. You can see in this column, this is enrollment projections. So you can change those percentages here and it'll show you exactly what we're predicting for each of these. And with the changes in the tuition rates and the enrollment, it'll predict gross revenues and fees. And these are just kind of like the total columns down here. I'm not allowed to show any of that. So during week 13, Brad came in with a more positive outlook. So I was able to create the tuition and fee model scenario 2. Per Brad's request, the model had volumes from fiscal year 24 at -3%, fiscal year 25 at 0%, fiscal year 26 at +3%, fiscal year 27 at another 5% increase. If these numbers were to remain true with the pricing changes that we were considering, which I'm not allowed to say, I don't think, then tuition and fees would raise. Moving on to week 14, this is the last week before recording this presentation, so this is the last slide that I have data on. During this week, Matt gave me some numbers and wanted me to throw it together to give everyone an idea of what it would look like. I threw it together in Tableau. And I think it went on to Jenny Painter, and she kind of redid it a little bit, but used a lot of the same things that I did. And it ended up getting used in a PowerPoint slide that's going to be used in the budget discussion. So I wanted to end my presentation with an internship reflection, just in case there's an honor student listening that maybe is considering doing an internship instead of a traditional class. So I think one of the best benefits that I got from this was getting more comfortable around management. It's hard for a lot of college students to get this real world experience, so that was definitely a benefit for me. Also learned some important modeling techniques that I'm going to be able to take throughout my career. I know that not everyone's going to be going into finance, but if you're doing an internship in any field, you'll definitely be able to gain knowledge that you can keep probably throughout your entire career. Also learn how to use my resources. I've never been able to work somewhere where there's so many knowledgeable people around, and this really helped me improve the quality of my work because I was able to ask for help when it was needed. That was definitely something that I really enjoyed. And lastly, this internship just helped me gain relevant experience and knowledge that is actually going to be important in my future. And I think that's everything. Thank you for listening.